Was that your booty that farted? Show me your booty hole! Oh! You're gonna put this in the beginning? I feel like you are. Oh!
This is why I like to press record before we do anything.
The booty hole!
That's pretty cool.
That's a big ass file.
That is a huge fucking file.
Big ass file. I should probably pull up the notes here so I know what we're talking about.
Are you ready, sir?
You gonna do another clap?
Oh, he's just
He's
finished the second
chugging.
can.
We're good.
Oh, you
He's
can
like,
do,
ya booty hole? I don't want to see your booty hole. Booty hole. Oh! Show me your booty hole. you gotta, when we start, you gotta be focused. You can't laugh when we start.
You are the problem here.
I did nothing. I'm gonna eat some jerky though. Show me your booty hole. Oh! I'm gonna clap so you know where to start.
God damn it.
Make that big boss that special. It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level. Second level gaming. Second level.
Hello, Internet, and welcome back, or welcome to episode 39 of the official Level 2 podcast. My name's Keegan, one half Level 2 Gamers, all the way down the end, the other half Level 2 Gamers. Tom, how you doing today, Tom?
I'm great, man. What happened? There's like a growth that happened between us in the last week or so. What's
The sandwich, the meat in the sandwich here. This is Wheezy, our artist. As we've said for the last couple weeks, we've been trying to get him on. Finally got him on. Also, I want to apologize because I'm getting over some sort of cold or sickness, so I'm a little bit nasally. What you guys didn't see is my voice cracked on the first attempt of this intro, and I was like, "Oh, do it again."
That was great. You should do that more.
How you doing, Wheezy?
Doing well.
You doing well? You excited to be on? You nervous?
About time. Yeah.
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 You what do you think of our setup? Let's start there because you have seen the final product. Have you been in Tom's basement before?
This is my first
question.
time. My kid was here before. My kid was here before I was.
Oh, that's okay.
the
Tom, do you want to?
worst thing.
Yeah. Do you want to?
My wife and kid were here before you were.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain that one? I feel like you're just
Yeah,
taking
sure.
it
So
your wife
to
and your kid was
explain that
here.
one away a little bit, Wheezy's kid, Ethan, and his lovely wife, Jess, came over for his mom to do some shopping with a whole side thing I have going on. But Ethan just came over to say hi.
And play VR.
And I don't know if he wanted to necessarily. So
You
much
made
as
him?
I was like, yes, you're going to. I
You're
said,
like,
have you
you're
ever
gonna
played VR? He said, no. I said, good. I know what we're doing for the next hour. So that's how that went. And he had a blast.
He
so,
loved it.
Yeah.
Cool.
He did.
But now you're here.
I am.
And we can force you to play VR.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I'm ready to do whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
No, that's scary.
Whatever.
Careful what you say.
Well, this is the weirder of the three podcasts, I think, because this just devolves into madness quite
Yeah.
frequently.
This is just us.
So welcome to
talking
this one.
back. So as we always do, let's start with Keegan's Corner, which is where I pick a topic, we talk about it, and we go on from there. So I've not told either of these two what my topic is.
You rarely do.
Yeah, I like that because it surprises you. So there was a little game that came out about a week ago now
Okay.
called Destiny 2.
Yes.
You know how much I hated Destiny. Are you aware of my hatred for Destiny 1?
Yes.
Okay, I hated Destiny. I hated vanilla Destiny, got into Taken King, didn't get back into it. I then tried to do it a third time, never got into it. Destiny 2. I was lucky enough to get a copy of Destiny 2. I have played 20 hours in 2 days of Destiny 2, beat the campaign, almost max light level. I'm enjoying my time in Destiny 2, and I kind of want to talk about why I'm liking Destiny 2 more than Destiny 1. Also, and see if you guys, if either of you played it. I know you haven't.
No.
Have you played it? Do you have any interest in playing it?
I probably will at some point in time. Yeah.
Did you play vanilla?
Yeah.
What does that
Did you
mean?
play vanilla? Base Destiny. Like original base Destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the alpha, the beta, and the full game.
You just didn't like it? Or did you like it?
No, the alpha and the beta were great, but then when they released the full game, I was like, is this the CETA? Like, where's the rest of the game? It's just, it was weird. It was, yeah, I played through the base game. I did like a lot of the gameplay. I liked a lot of how it felt. I liked the ideas.
There just wasn't much
but
there.
there just wasn't a lot there,
So-
and you find yourself just grinding.
So Destiny 2.
Yeah.
First things first, campaign. I'm going to try my hardest not to spoil anything. So potential spoilers on some things, and I'll warn you if I do get in that area. But I'm going to try my best not to spoil. But the campaign, hands down, is what got me hooked.
Okay.
It is. So the problem I had with Destiny 1 is I had no idea what I was doing why I was doing what I was doing. I felt like I was shooting waves of enemies,
That's
leveling
all
up,
it was.
getting
mostly.
stuff, shooting
Yeah,
waves of enemies,
it was
leveling
this
up.
robot guy is going to tell you to hang out here while he does something,
Yeah.
and you have to protect him.
Yes.
Times
So this one actually has a story to it, and it's a very succinct story. It's about 5-6 hours, so it wasn't incredibly long. but it's very well done. There's amazing set pieces that you had. There was amazing enemies, waves of enemies. I wish they had a different enemy type. There's no new enemy type that shows up. It's all the same ones you've seen from the first game. So this really feels like Destiny 1.5, but it's what I wanted in Destiny. So the campaign, again, without spoiling it, is amazing. The ending is not what I expected. And stay till the end of the credits, because there's a post-credit scene that has me a little bit excited about what's to come.
Okay.
That aside, the grinding, I feel like grinding's not there. They've introduced what's called public events, which are, you're in the world, these things happen, and go on from there. They happen probably every 2 to 3 minutes, so you can hop from one to the other and back and forth, and keep grinding up that way, but it doesn't feel like grinding, because you do those while you're going to do something else, so you get XP that way. So that's the big things that have kind of got me to it. I've leveled up. I played with David. I played with Degrado, a few other people. Try not to snot all over you.
I noticed you were struggling with sinuses there a touch. You doing okay?
Yeah.
You want to blow your nose?
Nah.
For sure?
That's for you audio guys.
Oh, God. That's gross.
So, Destiny 2 I'm enjoying. Like I said, I probably put 20 hours in the last 2 days. It's literally, I woke up yesterday at 9 a.m., did a few things, played Destiny till, I think, 1 in the morning. So, that's like a whole day, literally.
That's just
Destiny.
you most days, though. You play whatever it is you're playing until 1, 2,
Well, no, but I
3
don't start in the morning, though. I usually start at like 10 and go to the 1 in the morning.
Okay.
So I'm enjoying my time in it. I'm excited to get in. The raid is dropping as of recording today. I haven't played it yet, obviously. Not out. Destiny servers were down this morning. I tried to get on before I came here, and Destiny servers were down. God forbid. I was like, no! I need to do the weeklies and all that kind of stuff.
I never thought I would hear the day that you would be worried about Destiny servers.
Yeah, they went down. Yeah. So, do you guys have any questions for me about Destiny or anything you guys are interested in with this? Because it's the bigger thing here is.
So is this a I played Destiny 2 AMA?
Well, it's also that thing of like I hated Destiny 1 so much, so Destiny 2 fixed everything I hated about Destiny 1 for the most part. There's still things I'm like, you need to fix. Mainly that there's no new enemy. It feels like Destiny 1.5. But the fact that I gave the sequel a try after hating the first one so much, is there any game that you guys hated a game and then went back and played another one of it and you gave it a second chance, you're like, okay, I like this. I like this now. Assassin's Creed 1 and 2.
Assassin's Creed, the first one with Altair was like, I don't know, it just seemed like you would, well, it didn't seem like you were doing the same 3 things over and over again. It'd be like, go here, listen to this conversation.
And that's what Destiny
go here,
felt
do
like
something
to me.
Here, go here, kill this guy, next level. And it just got so repetitive and boring. I mean, I would even still say that Assassin's Creed was better than Destiny 1, the first one. But I
hated Destiny 1, as you know.
I think Assassin's Creed 2, like, they really upped the ante on, like, side quests. They made it more interesting, and then they built that universe out even better. Like, the way they built it up and the way that the buildings were structured for, like, perfect assassinations and stuff, they just made it so much more interesting and fixed all those problems. So I'm glad that I gave that one a second chance, although since then, you know,
I mean, it's been the same. It hasn't gotten. I don't think it's gotten worse. It's been the same.
Which is kind of a worse version of being repetitive in a game because every game is the same game.
I think and it's funny because like Nate APOC, who we play with, he's excited I'm back in Destiny. But I think it's funny because like I would feel as somebody who if I'd put hundreds of hours in Destiny 1, I would be disappointed by this game because it's literally like a half tick up, and you can't bring anything over from the first game, which sucks, including silver that you bought. So I would hate that, but it's interesting because Nate has already leveled up 2 characters. He's on his 3rd one. I was like, you have a problem. I have a problem, but you have a bigger problem than I have. And like,
I just find it interesting. In it. It's weird. I mean, like, I've been looking at all the like people on Twitter saying it's amazing, it sucks, it's amazing, it sucks. And
I would say it's probably like an 8 if I had to give it a score from my experience.
A lot of people, I would say honestly, like
8ish,
probably 8 out of 10 people seem to like it.
So you'd be the 2.
But I'm still in the 2, and the thing is, I haven't played it. I can't be like it's shit because I've not played it. But I'm so turned off by everything that the developers did during the release and post-release of Destiny 1 that I just don't want to fuck around with.
Well, they also did some things this time around where like shaders are consumables, so you use it and it's done. Versus before, you kept it and you could change it out.
Yeah, so it seems like a weird money bank that people just sink into, and it is so addictive in nature because but it was the first. I think it was like one of the first modern games to have the title MMO Lite.
It's that one more thing. I was like last night, me and David were done. We got back to the social area. I don't want to say what it is because it's a spoiler. Well, there's 2 social hubs that you end up doing. One is at the beginning of the game, and then one when you end it, there's a new area. Potential spoiler, but I'm not gonna say what it is. But there's a social hub we got back to, and they're like, okay, what do we want to do now? And I was like, I probably should go to bed. but I want to do one more thing. And it's stupid because you can do something that takes 5 minutes. You can do something that takes, like, the raids will take hours. Like, I love that aspect of the game. Same thing with the Division that got me. I could jump in, do Division, do the supply drop. That will take me maybe 15 minutes. Or I could go and try do Dark Zone or go do an Incursion. That will take me an hour or 2 hours. And I love that. And then you get the loot. And obviously now I'm in the point where when I get stuff, I'm still leveling up. I'm sure once
did you dip into the PvP?
No, not yet. I want to. I was waiting to get my gear up there before I did. I am 265, I think, light level. And cap, I want to say, is 270 or 280-ish,
Okay.
I believe. Around there. They're about to drop something new, so who knows if that'll go up a little bit. But
Did you ever play that game, Weezy, the original Destiny?
Yeah.
How do you think about it?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't something. I mean, I'm not huge into shooter games. Oddly
me
enough.
neither. Which is funny because I play Overwatch and Battlefront and Division.
You like shooter games. You're just so used to saying that you don't like them that now it's like
I don't see. I think of shooter games like Call of Duty. Like I like the more arcadey shooters than the realistic shooters, which I think you like the more.
Call of Duty
realistic.
is arcadey as fuck right now. There's like literal like.
That's why I like it better than like than the other stuff.
I like the realistic.
I like shooter games that have a storyline, and I think that's
See,
Destiny 2 has a good storyline.
See, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's 6 hours of the potential hundreds, if not thousands, of hours you can put into the game. So it's like, is it worth it to you?
Well, the fact of Destiny is they have good solo and good multiplayer.
Yes.
So if you do like it, then there's plenty there.
And the other thing is, this time around, they have a release schedule of their launch of like, okay, launch day, here's what you have. Cool. Next week, like this week, the raid comes out. Cool. Xur's going to be this weekend for the first time. And they give you an idea for the month and a half after launch of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited
Better
about.
communication.
Yes. That, I think, was the big thing is kind of like you. I got in Destiny. I played it for the first one. I hit, I think, like level 12. And to me, I've learned like level 12 is like where I stop playing games. Like that's to me is like, am I enjoying what I'm doing enough to grind through this? And I was like, no. So I stopped playing that because there's no story. I had no investment. I didn't care. Granted, this time I'm also leveling with people versus before I started, didn't have friends to play with. And then I got friends to play with, but they're already max level, so they pull you through the story, so you don't know what's going on. And you're like,
How much did you pay
for
all the friends to play with?
David.
How much
Ducato.
does the campaign mode in this like want you to carry on? Does it make you want to carry on to the rest of the game, or does any of the storyline from the campaign mode carry on to the rest of the game?
There is story. So they have the way it works is you have the campaign, so you have your main mission that you run through, and then the side quests. There's the public events, and then there's what's called adventures, which adventures are not tied to the campaign, but they give you information that is tied to the campaign,
like lore.
So I tell people to play the campaign first, and you'll understand the adventures after.
Gotcha.
I don't know I can't remember when the adventures popped. They popped, I think, when you finish the campaign mission in that area. So play through the whole campaign though before you do any of the adventures, because the adventures. The other thing too is the drop for the time you invest is not that good. I can invest. They drop what's called tokens that you can then turn in and level up and get Ingrams, which is how you get your gear. And you
Following?
Yeah. So you get a token versus like getting a gear drop. So you have to get like 10 tokens to level up to get a gear drop through that, and those take 20 minutes versus I can do a public event, potentially get gear drop every time, especially if I make it heroic, and then we're good. So
Silence my phone.
the answer your question, yes, the adventures are good. I wish the reward is a little bit higher on them. The public events are awesome, but it's the same 5 things that are just cycled throughout.
Yep.
Each world has its kind of flow of how everything goes. But I'm enjoying just going around the world and finding stuff. You still have patrols. You have other smaller side quests that you can do as well with them. The cool thing that they have now is called Lost Sectors. So on the map, it's a little like, I call it a rainbow with an eyeball in the middle, where it's just an icon that you can see on your map, and there's a lost sector, which is just like a hidden cave. And at the back of that, there's a boss that has loot for you to pick up.
Oh, kind of like,
so you got to go
what do
find
you
them.
call them in Elder Scrolls? Delves?
Yes,
Yeah.
similar to delves. So you got to go find them. You got to beat the boss and go through. That's what actually I did that this morning before the servers went down, because I was like, that's something quick I can do, and it's also one of my dailies, or I guess technically weeklies, that I got to do to finish that.
See, there's a couple things that turn me off about this game, that are still keeping me from trying it. Even the first one is
you have to have friends and play online.
That's true.
I mean,
the
let's be
first
honest.
one is I hated the trailer. I hated it. Like,
I never watched it.
Well, the trailer was like,
I didn't care about
They
Destiny
made it
2.
all like goofy characters and stuff. They made it.
I
look
love
like
Cade though. We decided I'm Cade. I'm Nathan Fillion. We decided because the jokes I made were the same jokes he made and because he's in the story, obviously. So the jokes I made, he then made like 20 seconds later. It's like, ha ha. So I'm Nathan Fillion.
So
Didn't know who he was.
So the
but I am him.
characters were like, no, like I didn't like how they built those up. They seemed too goofy to me because the original Destiny had kind of a serious undertone.
It
to
does. So
this is more comedic.
no.
The trailer made it
Yes,
seem more
but it's
comedic.
not. So Cade is comedic, and I think that's why they picked him to show, hey, we've got personality here, because the rest of it is, again, I don't want to go too deep into campaign spoilers, but you meet a lot of people from the first game that you kind of knew, like in the tower. You
I
had
don't remember anyone.
you,
in the
you,
first
you
game.
know the Vanguard people. Like if you choose your class, the first person you go to is the Vanguard people.
Right.
So you've got Zalov, I think's her name. So you meet her. You've got multiple other people from the game that you meet, and you see kind of how they react to what happens. So this is not a spoiler because it's in the beta, but the tower, first mission of the game is the tower that you've built everything up, and this is how they justify getting rid of all your shit.
It's destroyed.
Goes away.
You see
yeah.
that in like the trailers.
Yeah, it gets destroyed. So it's how those characters are reacting to that on their personal
Scenario.
level. And what's really cool is it goes between the villain's point of view, your point of view, and those characters' point of view, and how you interact with them, which is what I love a lot. It really, like, IGN has all the cinematics up just back to back to back, and it's watching a movie. And the cinematics are really good. Water effects are a bit They look really iffy. There's a really cool level called Rig, or the Rig, that is just an oil rig out in the middle of the ocean. The water I love water. The water look like in games I love water.
You're made of it 70%, so you should enjoy it.
In
a
games,
little bit.
but like in games, like water, if done right, looks good, and it was all right. Like it gave me the feeling of like, okay, this is cool, but it wasn't the prettiest water. But they had a moment where you're going through one of the missions and you're walking, and then you're out in the ocean, so the thing's moving like this, and a shipping containers flies across the screen. And you're like, oh, probably shouldn't have moved too quickly, type thing. So I like that kind of stuff, but I do like how you are connected to the characters, which is what I think the big thing the first game was missing.
There's no personality in the first
Yeah.
game.
And Cade, who's the one you dislike, is only in it for a little bit. He is the comedic relief. He is the donkey of the movie, if I will. That's for Shrek, in case you're wondering. But he's the comedic relief in it, and it's really well done with the timing of it, because in the trailer, it's like it was goofy, but that got me excited because it's like, okay, there's personality here. You're gonna focus on a character. I think is what got me more excited than looking at the trailer as a whole, because that's what the first one was missing. So again, I don't want to spoil too much of what happens, but when you meet all the characters and see what happens to them, it's a wonderful thing about how this all comes together in the end. And I'm excited. I'm excited for DLC for that game if they continue the story that they started.
Okay.
And I think because of the post-cut scene or credit scene, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
Do you remember them saying the 10-year thing on the original Destiny?
yeah, I feel like they had to hit reset though because they fucked up.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. Do you remember that? I mean, when they first announced it, they said we're going to put 10
10-year
years
platform?
into this game. Like, we're not going to change it for 10 years. Which
They're going to
everyone
build
was
upon it
like,
like World of Warcraft style.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But
I can relate to that one.
Yeah.
yeah, they never really went for that.
I think they did. I think they just made a whole new platform, which kind of sucks. Like
Yeah.
it's definitely, in my opinion, it's definitely Destiny 1.5. It's not Destiny 2. But as somebody who didn't put a lot of hours in Destiny, I didn't invest a
You
lot into
appreciate
it.
this one more.
I'm a lot happier with this now, and I'm more excited if they come out and do DLC. Like before, I was like, I don't really care about DLC. Now I'm actually excited to see what the DLC is.
Being a non-social gamer, though, as you so succinctly pointed out, when I get onto a game like Destiny, the problem for me is that you or whoever else that I would know that's playing it
Is already high
is
level?
putting in like monster hours into this game. So like you're doing 12-hour day shifts on it or whatever, and then you get
Only
to
at launch. It's going to
whatever.
slow down afterwards.
And then-
Expect live streams of Destiny, by the way.
So it's difficult
When
for
the
me to
raids and
kind of
strikes.
to jump in at that point.
So yeah, that's how I felt before, and I completely understand that. And I think the big thing with it is the question a lot of people are gonna ask is, can I do it solo? Can I do the campaign solo? And I will say yes, up to a point before it gets frustrating.
Okay.
So bullet sponge becomes a thing. Enemies get harder, more enemies, that kind of thing. So you're gonna want a teammate with you, at least one, if not more. You can have up to 3 total.
Okay.
Or 3 people in your fire squad now, which is weird because the last one was 4. But then if you do strikes are 3, raids are 4, and then
Do they give you however many they think you need to handle that thing?
I think so, but it's weird because there's always like that one odd person that's like, I need one more. Oh, you're playing with them. Sorry. Like the thing we ran into, like last night, it was me, Girl Scout, Nate, David, and Brian playing. That's 5. Well, me and Nate and Girl Scout were on first, so I partied up with them, and then David, who I've been playing with the whole time, hops on. Then Brian hops on, who I've been playing with as well, and it's just like, now that's that weird of like, do I go play with them? Do I play with where do I go? And I hate that. I wish, especially in the open world, I wish you could just have like Elder Scrolls says, hey, if you have more than X number of people, you can't do X events.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. I just want to play with my friends in the open world.
Yeah.
And I wish you could do that in the open world.
That is weird.
That's probably my big issue with it right now, and it's because I have too many friends. But you never answered. Has there ever been a game that you played, whether it's the first one or whatever, and then you got back to it? You're like, I did not like that experience, but for whatever reason, you gave it another chance.
I'd probably go with Tom and do Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed.
I was not, a fan of it, and then my brother-in-law got me back into it. I just really enjoyed it.
The second one was miles ahead of the first one in
Yeah.
terms of complication and just keeping you involved in it. And then they even made that better. Like, actually, my favorite Assassin's Creed is Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, which was the second in the Ezio series, which is a weird place to have a favorite, but they basically took everything that was perfect about the first Assassin's Creed.
I think that's the last one I played.
Yeah, maybe.
That's
It
the
was
last one I
Revelations
played.
was after that, which was still Ezio, but
I didn't play that
that's
one.
where he actually
I didn't play. Brotherhood was the last one.
But you're supposed to say spoilers before you say the thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Not afterwards.
So no, but that one introduced the mechanic of having this kind of guild with you, so that if you were in a hot water, you could press L2 and some fucking magical assassin would fly out and kill the thing in front of you. That I loved, because there were so many times when I was just like hanging off the ledge of a building, waiting for this guy to turn around. And when you're hanging off the ledge of a building, there's a guy up there, and you press L2, and this fucking guy just like comes bombing over and takes him out. It was one of the greatest moments for me. So that's where that game got exponentially better for me. And then like I said, after like Revelations was good, but after like 3 and 4 and whatever,
Yeah, I just became the same.
Yeah.
And it's weird because like I was watching Kind of Funny the other day talk about Origins, which is the newest one. And,
it looks exactly the same.
Andrea Renee was like, it is gorgeous. It runs amazing. I love it, but it's Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
And that's where she's like, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to put hundreds of hours into it. And Greg Miller was like, I couldn't because it's Assassin's Creed. I know it. I'm going to play for 5-10 hours and then get out of it
Yeah.
and be done with it. So
I'm kind of the
interested.
same boat as him on that. I feel like
Yeah, I'm that way too. Plus, it's single.
not
To
gonna
me, as much as you don't play socially, I don't play single. So it's like,
and that's the whole thing for me. So
yeah.
not
So,
doing it.
anyways, that was my jumping. I just wanted to talk about that because I played a shit ton of Destiny 2 the last 2 days, and like, I was surprised I loved it. Like, it was funny because I told David while we were playing, the moment that got me was I think the second campaign, because the first campaign mission, or I guess it's technically like the prequel to like where you can partner up with people, is from the beta.
Right.
So it's the tower scene, and you jump through the ship, and you get the bad guy comes, throws you off, and all that kind of stuff. Lose all your power. But the second mission, or the third mission, I think, was like, I'm in this. I have investment in this, and that's what it was missing from the first game. That now I care about the character I'm making. I care about the world I'm in. I care about these things and where I'm going. And I'm not going to be a Destiny fanboy when it comes to like, I know all the lore. I know the Vex backstory and all. I don't care about that stuff.
But the gameplay
The gameplay
has always been strong. With
Yeah,
Destiny.
gameplay's always been good.
Part has always been
yes.
flawless. It's just the other shit.
Yeah.
So as long as you think they fixed that, then
Yeah,
I suppose
I
that's
think
a good thing.
they fixed a lot of that.
Cool.
So
Interesting. Well, maybe not.
I don't think you will.
Nah, probably not.
You pick it up? I'm not.
Well, here
You have a son.
I
He'll pick it
do.
up.
I do. Yeah. We were walking past the store the other day. I was like, "Oh, Destiny 2's out." He's like, "Oh, can we pick it up?"
He could join the level 2 clan that Degrado made for us.
I was just like, "Yeah, maybe." I was like, "We could look at it." My issue is, I want to play with him, and in order to do that, I gotta buy another fucking PS4.
That's true.
Yeah, or just come to my house.
Yeah.
But then I would want to play with him too. So
I know.
that's the problem.
So I don't know. Yeah, we'll probably pick it up. And
What's
I've
your
been
service
toying, talking to my wife about getting a second PS4 anyways because I want to play GTA with him.
I think it would be a nice bonding moment. Like
Yeah,
a family
we
person thing, right?
right now we play Minecraft together,
Yeah.
which is pretty
Because
neat.
you have different computers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly, PS4 is not that expensive right now if you get the base model.
Yeah.
You don't have to get the Pro or whatever, but like a lot of people are selling their original ones at like a cut price so they can buy the Pro. I did that early on, but right
sure
now
clean it
it's
out.
happening more because they have that Destiny bundle, which is the white one with.
Which is dumb because that has nothing on it that says Destiny. I don't think.
I think the box might have like a picture or something. I'm not sure.
The box does, but the
But not the
console,
actual
the
console.
console itself
Oh,
is
no,
just,
it's just
it's just
white
white. And I was
console.
like,
Yeah.
if I'm gonna get a special edition console, I'm gonna want that fucking Gears of War 3 one that was
man.
like red with the blood on the controller.
like
Like that
that
was
stuff.
awesome.
20th anniversary.
Dude, the R2D2 one. The
I've got the
C3PO?
R2D2.
360?
I've got the R2D2 360.
Dude, that one was like it made
Sorry,
custom noises.
Ethan does.
Yeah, it made
Yeah,
custom
yeah.
noises.
You eject the tray.
They had that Pikachu N64 as well.
I didn't, but yeah, for Hey You Pikachu, which that game did not take off.
Crazy looking N64, dude.
Yeah.
It was weird.
So let's move on. Normally we play a game in this middle section here, but we're going to talk about you, Weezy. We're going to talk about you do animation, you do art. This thing you see behind us, you can't see behind you because it's green behind you, but
I know it's back there.
the last
I've seen
video,
this
by the way,
before.
Tom, I don't know if you watched it to the end, but I cut out what it actually looked like.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I went
I
boop,
missed
boop,
that part.
and I flip back and forth so people can see what's actually behind us. It's literally
what we were
How-
talking
and
about.
how close it is behind us.
Yeah.
That's all right.
You
So-
really have no idea how tight knit quarters this is. The first thing Weezy is like, huh, it looks a lot bigger on the
We should knock a wall. He's like, we should knock a wall out. And Tom's like, I know, we should, but we can't. So let's talk about you. Let's talk about kind of
Let's talk about you.
you do art.
baby.
You've done art for us. You've done art for many people. I've seen your portfolio.
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 Of 3D animation.
TP.
Let's start at the beginning. Where did your love of art come from? What was the moment you're like, I want to draw?
I mean,
That was not forced to.
I don't know the moment where I was just like, I want to draw. I just remember drawing. My grandma was super supportive. My mom was super supportive. I've always remembered just having a pen and paper, pencil and paper in my hand, or available. And
Number 2, right? Number 2 pencil.
or
Or did you use the funny,
no,
crazy awesome pencils? that
No,
were like number
they were
1.5?
they were definitely they were
four.
definitely number 2. School pencils, horrible erasers.
Do you know about the different number pencil, Tom? The different colors, like
Not enough to
They're-
carry
they're-
a conversation.
they're
right?
they're different. They're different thickness, so basically it's different shades.
My wife used to
Softness
do
of the
drawing,
legs.
so she
Yeah.
has like a selection of
There
the
you go.
thicker lead and thinner lead and everything.
I
you
spent
go.
way too much money on pencils, and sadly, I'm not using them right now. They're all sitting in a drawer at home. 'cause
Yeah,
I
use
do everything
digital.
I use
Everything digitally.
my Cintiq and my iPad.
So
Get with the future.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly when I started drawing. I just remember drawing.
do you have a specific style that you like you mimicked growing up, or did you just kind of like I'm just gonna draw my like favorite characters, whatever it may be? How did you get into it? I want to know how you got into this.
I mean, I think in most people that that have drawn, it's always been some sort of cartoon when they were little that started them on drawing. Mine was Disney, the Walt Disney movies, that style, I guess. And I've always drawn those characters, and I've always drawn in that style. I'm just now trying to really find my own style.
It's hard, right?
Which I've done with your guy that nobody's seen but you two. So
Oh, the cartoon thing?
yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so
I haven't
that's-
seen. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the style I'm working on.
he did this. This is 8-bit
Yeah,
background. Like this is not a studio. Somebody the other day was like, I really like your studio. I was like, it's literally an image behind us.
it is. It's
Just
just a
a
picture.
flap of green.
But he's really good with the depth, all that
The
kind
depth
of stuff.
on the new one that we're rocking right now looks
he
great.
sent it to me. He's like, last night you're like, hey, I'm updating your picture. Which do you want? I was like, I wanted to say Destiny 2, but I didn't want to give away
Oh,
that.
man.
But I was like, no, last day
you.
of June.
Well, and I almost looked. As soon as you started doing that, I started looking for Overwatch, Last Day of June, and Destiny 2. Because you said last night you were playing Destiny 2.
Yeah, I was playing the
I was
shit
like,
out.
why the hell isn't he getting back to me? And I was like, oh yeah, he's.
I
playing.
went for my saddest scene in Final Fantasy X. This is my favorite game ever, and it's the scene where Yuna and Titus are kind
Make
of
love?
dancing in a lake.
Did they make
Well,
love?
she does this thing where she like sends. It's kind of like last rites or whatever she
Yeah.
does for someone, but it involves her dancing on a lake and like lots of lights flickering around, and then later on they're in the same lake and they just kind of make out a little bit, and you're just like,
Yeah, they make
"Aw."
love.
It's a gorgeous.
out.
It's
No, they make
love.
it's a gorgeous scene.
It is a great scene.
I've never played the game.
Oh yeah,
You remember that?
Yeah, I love that game. That's my second favorite Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that scene had me like straight like I was like, You know, so I love that. I used to have this actual poster in my bedroom when I was younger, so I wanted to.
Yeah,
bring
you
it to
asked
my
me what
virtual
game I wanted.
studio.
I was like, I jump from game to game so quickly. Like, I mean, a game, Tom can vouch, and I'm sure you can based on what I do. But I get so deep into one game like constantly. Like, it's still Elder Scrolls is like the one I always go back to. It's like that crutch. You're like, I want that.
Yeah, but,
But
the way
I-
you reacted to Last Day of June,
Yeah,
That
you
was-
watched it live with me.
I did.
So when I
that
streamed
was
that, you were
that
there.
was you had some emotion behind that.
The
that reaction.
yeah. I don't want to spoil anything, but I
get
think I
soppy.
said, but I literally said, "Holy shit!" like this, and I was like, "What?" Yeah, that was a
Powerful
mind
stuff,
blowing game. Yeah,
folks.
pick up that game. Last Day of June.
Definitely
505
pick it up.
Games. I can't pronounce the developer's name because it's like Uv.
It starts with an O.
Yeah, Uv
Yeah.
does
I know it starts with an O.
something like that.
But yeah, so you have been doing a lot more digital than physical lately.
I still have pads of paper. I still have and down
Primary tool is the iPad Pro right now with the pretend pencil, so at least
Yeah.
it feels a little bit like a
in
pencil.
my pocket right now. Actually,
Yeah,
That's what's in your
Um,
pocket.
it's pocket size.
that's what's in my pocket. Yes, but yeah, Apple has just made it so convenient with the iPad Pro and the pencil, just to be able to walk around, taking it
Wherever it is,
when I
yeah.
went on vacation, I would have pads of papers and pencils.
Kind of like the books.
Did you ever have an Etch-a-Sketch?
I did. I still have one.
Tom learned the other
I
day
still
on the
have
iPhone shake to undo. Like last week.
Yeah, I didn't
He did
know
not know that was a thing.
didn't know
And I was like,
that.
remember Etch a Sketch? He's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, just shake it.
Cute.
No one
It's
do
So
it.
weird.
It's been a while.
It is. It's really cute.
I
It's
forgot
really
about
weird.
that until you just mentioned it. I'd have forgotten it again.
Well, next week I'll remind you. So,
Sorry, go ahead.
Cool.
No. I was just gonna say I do most of my stuff on the iPad Pro with the pencil. When I'm at home, I'm usually sitting at my desk with the Cintiq, which I finally got my new iMac, so I can have that hooked back up. So.
do you prefer digital over the traditional way, or is it just kind of everything's kind of gone that way? So you're like, you know what, it makes more sense to
Yeah,
do this.
that's the answer.
Because getting us files is really
having-
easy over via digital versus you had to come
man,
see us.
and
You're like, hey, here.
you know what,
or
I
you
was-
just have to scan them.
I did some stuff for for Nate and Tim, and they
The
were
Nano
just,
Blitz.
they were just really quick on getting back to me for.
Or not.
Well, you guys aren't bad.
We just yell at each other.
Yeah,
It's really
that's
fun.
true.
Whenever
It's-
we send you something, it's like, so what do you think? Tom's like, it's fine. I'm like, hold up.
Yeah. Can we do this? Change the blue.
Change that. Do that. Do this.
Slide that over a little bit.
I
But that's the
defer to
beauty of
Keegan.
doing everything digital.
Mm-hmm.
I can do that
Yeah.
instead of just having a pad of paper. Shit, I gotta
do it
erase this.
again.
Gotta use whiteout. Gotta use tracing paper
Yeah.
or some the stuff that behind us right now. If I ever had to do that,
You're like, nope.
yeah.
So I wanted to ask you some stuff because I know that previous to like what you do now, which is you're basically freelance at this point, right? Anyone can hire Wheezy's services.
EricTheAnimator.com.
EricTheAnimator.com, and your email address is
EricLWhite@gmail.com right
Eric
now.
L.
Right now.
White. It might be backwards in this. I don't know.
It
White
will be.
at gmail.com.
Just
straight
do line. Yeah.
As far as like
Lowercase
how
L.
much it costs or whatever, don't worry about it. Just tell them what you want, and then they'll figure it out there. But just so you know, I want to pimp his stuff for a minute because he's done so much for us, and we have a viewer base. So if you have a YouTube channel and you would like a sweet intro, I can even pimp out my other friend who makes music, and it'll be great. You'll
And
have
or
the whole
banner
thing.
art. I mean, he made all of
banner-
our channel,
all the
made all of
art.
our channel art,
Yeah,
made
banner
all of our
art, emotes,
social media.
Studio, intro, everything.
I need you to make something for streams when we do like
T-shirts.
when we get subscribers. That should be next project.
The emotes?
Oh, we could use our heads. Oh, I got an idea. So on the live stream now, I've got it set up where somebody subscribes or donates or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
The notification
It
shows
used
up,
to
and right
be
now,
Keegan yelling.
no, not the, well, not the
told.
sound,
Turn it off.
Yeah, not the sound. But
It's
I'm talking about the image. Right now, it's just the LTG logo.
Yeah.
And it says so and so joined the level 2 Legion.
Mm-hmm.
We need to find some cool thing to do with that.
Yeah.
We'll
We
talk.
can do that.
We'll talk.
I might even have all the assets done already.
Oh,
have the assets.
look at him. So what I wanted to ask you about though was not that was that you have done work for, let's say, pretty big companies before. Are you allowed to talk about any of that stuff and that experience and what that was like in terms of? Am I allowed to say their name? That you
Is
did
there any NDAs?
colorism for? You colored some comic books.
Oh yeah, you can.
right.
I'm pretty sure we can talk because that's all done and over
right.
with now. Yeah.
So you used to do colorism. What is it called?
I was
He
a
colored.
I was a colorist.
Colorist.
He colored by
Or-
Freelance colorist.
He colored by
for,
numbers.
Marvel Comics, which is pretty big
Marvel,
company. And do you can you like tell us like which like if you remember the episodes and stuff that you worked on, and then also tell us what that whole experience was like? Because I imagine for most people, even though you're not technically drawing in that world, you're only coloring. It's still like such a massive like, oh my god, I'm working for Marvel right now moment. Did that happen?
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, anytime you get a book, especially when you got, because they would give you anywhere from, 5 to 10 pages at a time, and then you would.
You have a week.
Well, and it's goofy because it's almost a color by number, because they give you the original book that's in grayscale, and you've got to match the CMYK to the.
Do you know what a CMYK is, Tom? It's a color code.
Yeah, it's a color code.
Okay.
It's like RGB.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is it?
Cyan, yellow, and
Magenta,
maybe.
and then CMYK, and
Korean.
Then, K is black.
Korean?
K is just black.
Same
I don't
K
remember.
words.
Yeah.
Kennel.
But then depending on what you can see on the original file is what you're going to color actually in the digital digital file. So you have the scan, and then you have the digital file. So it was really just a paint by number. But
so if it's a paint by number, like how do you get picked to do it? Like how did you get that job? Because couldn't they legitimately, if it was that easy, just have given it to like pretty much any one of their staff?
Except
yeah,
why did you?
Yeah, well that's the thing.
He's got lucky.
They had people that they had. I think we were working because I did it. There was 3 people at Apple that were doing it. I wasn't supposed to say that, was I?
No, you can say that.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty obvious by now. I think.
Oh, okay, but yeah, there were 3 people, and there that were doing it, and I just happened to ask one day. There was 1 at the time, and then we became 3.
Yeah, that's so weird. So
yeah, so it was
you
just
got in through
I got in
someone
through word
else
of mouth.
as opposed through like.
Yep.
So,
and it was just because that wasn't their main focus. They wanted to give it out to the freelancers because they didn't have to pay us as much.
Yeah.
So
I can only imagine what they pay in house for that kind of stuff. Like I know somebody who used to do freelance video editing. Like your video editing, video shooting cost as a freelancer is a lot less than you charge in house.
Oh, and this was a lot less than what I wanted to get paid for it. But
it's also
did you
just
get
the
your
fact that I
name?
can
Resume thing.
throw it. No, there's no. Yeah, it's
No
all the
credits?
original. No, it's all the original artwork,
Yeah.
all the original artists.
That sucks.
We were just transferring it to digital. But if you go to the Marvel app, what is it? Marvel. What's their?
I think it's just called like Marvel. Or
Yeah, I can't
Marvel
remember what
Comics
their
or something.
Marvel Unlimited.
Yeah, that's their new.
The cover, one of the Spider-Man books is my cover.
What number?
Do you know?
I could probably look it up. I'll look it up. I'll find out. I do know. I've got it. I've actually got screenshots of it on my phone.
Let me know later, and I'll put the screenshots. Or send me the pictures, and I'll put them up.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really funny though because you can see my brushstrokes because I was working on my Cintiq, so I knew
Nice.
exactly which one it was.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, that was. I mean, just having just be able to put it on my
On your resume.
resume, colorist, freelance
yeah.
colorist.
I mean, that's the other thing too, especially when you have a big name like that. Like when I used to freelance video edit, both of you, and one of the things that I've learned is word of mouth is very powerful. So I worked at D'Addario Strings, as I had an internship there. I worked with some guy on some festival, then knew some guy somewhere else, and then it ended up I became head editor of a music festival. And I was like, how in 3 years, at the age of like 17, I was like, how the fuck did this happen? And then you work on Warped Tour, you work on Bamboozle and all this kind of stuff, and you're like, it's crazy how this stuff just kind of happens.
Yeah.
And it's not planned. It just kind of, you're like,
Snowballs.
yeah, it's just like people start reaching out to you, like, what is happening?
That I think it has parallels with a lot of other things too, though. I mean, especially like YouTube, for example, where like it seems to be that there's a certain plateau that you reach where you suddenly start getting contacted from people that are like higher than you, but like you would work well with, and then that kind of just can snowball into, oh, have you met this
So-and-so,
guy?
yeah.
And and it's
Well,
like,
I mean, the funny thing, if you look at us at Pixel Pop, like the first person I met from St. Louis when it came, and she turned out to be the person to talk to, was Carol. Like I met her when she was at Happy Badger 2 years ago at Wizard World. Didn't know she ran Pixel Pop. Didn't know who she was. I just knew her because Jordan knew who she was, and he was like, "Hey, you should talk to her because she's doing some cool stuff." So I was like, "Cool, let me go talk to her. Talk about Smugglecraft because I knew that game was coming out. Wanted to see what it was all about." And then that just snowballed into what the connections we have now in St. Louis, where we were pretty much the head media people at Pixel Pop this year.
yeah, we were the first name on the list,
was just
which
like-
was weird because a lot of the guys were like emailing us like, "Hey, you were the first in the press list, and we're just sending you," and we're like, "What the fuck? We're
Yeah,
first."
yeah.
Like, we are unprepared for this, sir.
We're
Who
not.
are you?
not
Where are
ready.
you from? But
You
no,
want to
it
talk
was,
to us?
Yeah, but that's cool. Though. So, is there anything else like similar to that, like that kind of job that you've done that you want to kind of talk about, or what was the best experience you had working as a freelancer?
Probably the stuff I'm doing for you guys.
Really?
Not.
Aw.
Well, I mean,
We paid him to say that, by the way.
Yeah. They no.
We actually fun story here. He pays himself.
Yeah, oddly enough.
He supports us on Patreon.
Yeah,
if you go
I,
to patreon.com/love2gamersSTL, you can support us as well and support Wheezy so we can pay him for his work.
Yeah, no, it's just you guys pretty much give me a creative outlet. You guys keep me busy. And
Sometimes over busy. We're like, hey, here's like 20 ideas. Go.
And because you guys have done that, I'm doing stuff for Azili. I'm doing stuff for
Tim.
Nanoblitz. Yeah, so
That's awesome.
there's a lot of stuff that I'm doing.
There's other YouTubers that have asked me like, who did your art? Because it's really interesting because you're just one of our friends. Like that's how I look at this, and it's not like you're a really good artist, and we're lucky to know you. And I understand that most people don't have those creative people in their lives. Like we work in a place where there's a lot of creative people that come together, and like I'm just like, oh yeah, we talked to one of our friends, and somebody's like, I don't know anybody that does that, and I was like, that's crazy. And how much better. When I was making the channel art, it was ugly. I could not make channel art, and how much better it looks, and how many compliments you get, and it's just stupid little things that you don't like. Today, I'm wearing the LTG STL shirt. I walked into Quick Trip to go get my beef jerky. And the guy was like, that's a cool shirt. What is it? I was like, what's LTG STL? I was like, oh, it's Level 2 Gaming St. Louis. He's like, what is that? I was like, it's a YouTube channel. Here's my card. So there you go, Quick Trip guy. Quick Trip.
What up, Quick Trip?
I think his name was Brandon. I can't remember.
I'm wearing a Chocobo Crossing shirt today.
Yeah, but he designed this. Well, this was your idea.
Yeah.
But he designed it.
Technically it was Run DMC's
yes,
idea.
but you wanted to do it.
I wanted to have a slightly cooler
And I like it.
looking logo.
I like it. It grew on me after
look
a
good
while.
on his shirt.
And it's kind of a tribute shirt.
Yeah, it's a
all the
tribute
same.
shirt because we love Run DMC, and so there you go. So that's.
Do you prefer doing 2D or 3D? Because I've seen you do both. Because 2D I feel like is a lot easier
Yeah. Oh yeah.
because you're not in the third
Yeah.
dimension.
3D is a nice place to play.
Idea-wise?
And I don't use it. I don't use it that much. I don't do a lot with
I've
it.
seen
you looked
some
at
of your work in 3D.
Yeah.
There's
There's the man pushing the box.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's kind of like I imagine that 3D would be easier the more you got to know the program. I think the program is the thing that holds you
Do you
back
use
on that. 'cause
Maya?
The drawing is like fine.
Maya's
expensive, by the way.
Maya is primarily what you use.
If you're a college student, get Maya. It's 3 years for free.
For free.
It's $10,000 I think otherwise or something stupid.
Well, not everything's all subscription based now.
Oh, well,
unless
never mind.
I'm sure businesses can actually do a
Yeah.
straight up buyout, but everything for just the average.
it's like everything. It's like Adobe
It's
now.
also-
Is
it's
it
all
weird that
subscription.
like is it like what Photoshop used to be, where you can't sell it if you got it for the student copy or whatever? You have to buy the pro copy to sell your work.
Probably.
Yes.
Usually it's an education thing.
Yeah.
or it's
Well, actually,
non-commercial.
Yeah,
There's a gray-
I'm
there's
sure
gray
that
area,
I'm sure there's that agreement in there. And
Yeah.
anytime you save a project in any of the Autodesk stuff, it'll just give you a pop up saying, "Hey, this is a student copy," but it's not watermarked.
Yeah. So
So-
they don't know.
Right.
Have you? This is sidetrack. You probably haven't seen this. Have you seen? Do you know Bumblesworth? Have I shown you him before?
I don't think so.
I have to show you the animation while we're dumping the footage for this podcast before we start the next one because I need to show you his animation. See what you think of it.
He did.
Okay.
He did like a pixel thingy for Jacksepticeye and Markiplier. It looked like a Pixar.
He was on
movie version of that. stuff.
Jacksepticeye's channel, and then he did one recently that just exploded.
Took like
He hit
6
10,000
months or
subscribers the
something.
other day.
Oh, nice. Good for him.
Yeah, it was crazy. So, but yeah, 3D versus 2D. What's the difference? Obviously, third dimension, duh. But
There's
like,
one more D, Keith.
Yeah. Hey, there's a third D here.
That's true.
Yeah.
Today that is true.
What's the is it easy to go from 2D to 3D, and or would you recommend or tell somebody who potentially wants to be an artist to focus on one? What would you say?
I mean, honestly, in the industry, you almost need to know both because you're going to get clients that are going to come for one, that are going to come for another.
What's best to start in? If you're a student, like, would it be better to start in 3D because 2D would be easier, or would it be better to start in 2D and build up to 3D?
I've been told by
didn't do this,
some industry professionals, one specifically that does work for Pixar.
That's a big company, by the way.
That knowing how to draw is going to make you a better animator or a better artist if you're working in 3D or if you're working in 2D.
Interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't matter either way because they've said they've got some great animators that know how to animate. They can make stuff move, but if you give them a pen and
They can't
pen and
draw.
paper, they can't.
That's how I am.
draw
Like I
for
can
anything.
I can move like for video editing. I do the keyframing, but I can't draw shit.
Yeah.
Like if you give me assets, I can make something out of it, but I cannot make the assets. It's always been that way in every job I've done.
So, I mean, I guess so. Kind of to answer your question, pick the one you're comfortable with, the one you have more interest in, but focus on both.
Yeah.
Do both
And draw more.
Draw all the time.
Yeah.
My iPad comes with me to work a lot of times just to watch something on Netflix when I'm on lunch, but
Gives you an opportunity to dig in when you need to.
Yeah,
when,
if I got an
when the
idea, I
feeling
can
strikes you.
I can just jot it down.
When I used to do the same thing with the hip hop stuff, I would always like have notes or like a notebook or something with me, so that if ever like something just popped into my head, I'd be able to do a quick, write down a couple lyrics or whatever. But I imagine that is a similar principle for artists everywhere. I love seeing like walking around the food court and just seeing a guy like with his portfolio laid out and just like drawing something as the moment strikes him and just being like, that's cool, man.
Yeah, it's so nice to be able to have.
I can't draw for shit.
The digital devices that we have nowadays, it just makes it so much better.
Spoiled.
So you guys can't see on the video, but I used to do movie scripts a lot and cartoon scripts, and every time I had an idea, literally there's one just called Benny the Bookworm. I know exactly what that is, but I'd be sitting here and like, I need to write this down because I know what it is, and as dumb as that is, to, like you're saying, to remember stuff. Because you can have your most brilliant moment when you're sitting on the toilet. Like,
dude,
I've woken up before and I was like, oh, I need to write that down before I forget.
Would scare you with some of my stream of consciousness notes, because I've actually, so sometimes, for whatever reason, I'm zoning out, and I go on a stream of consciousness where I just like start thinking about things that connect to other things that connect to other things, and then I'll write it down afterwards, and it makes me sound like a crazy person. I can demonstrate if you want.
Welcome to my life.
I have like one note in here that just has a question mark on it. And
you're like, what the fuck did I write?
Yeah, because literally, like, I don't know, like, what I was saying at the time. Here
Is it incriminating?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I'll give you...
Just want to make sure before we read it.
I'll read you a little bit of this, and this will blow your fucking mind, or it'll make you think I'm absolutely insane.
I'm going to go with that one.
One or the other. Atoms crushed down to individual pieces can each be separately regrown into different things, but only one can be regrown as you. The rest grow into other objects. As time moves forward, the nucleus, God part of each atom slowly regains enough transference of energy to start new evolutions for dead cells, or atoms. Each atom begins a new evolution for the last one, lasts until the next stage of evolution. So reincarnation is real, but not in the sense of my ancestors, but more in the sense that eventually, with the million variations of all those dead cells being reborn, one of those will hit the exact right moment to go through the exact same sequence of evolution to become you, and then the version beyond you too, the new evolved version of a human.
Jesus.
Right? Yeah, and then I just like went with that. Like, look at this shit, man. Like, it's just streams of thoughts.
If we're doing that, I got one for you.
All right,
we're doing it.
Do it. Yeah. I'll just let you know I don't have anything on mine. So.
Oh, that's fine. So this was a movie idea. This is from May 7th, 2012, which is probably the first note I have saved in here in iCloud. It's a film about a guy who was wrongfully put into a psych ward, and after being in there for so long, he believes he is crazy, and basically this belief changes every memory he has. He goes through this breakdown until he meets someone that he knows he knows. She turns out to be a former high school friend who is now a lawyer, and they fall in love, and she gets him out of the psych ward. But ultimately, he really is crazy, and the whole movie is his thoughts, and the girl is just a stuffed doll he owns.
Wow. Okay.
Welcome to my mind.
That's a brief trip into the mind of the level 2 gamers. Wheezy's just sat here like, I'm between these two. This is not going to work out great for me.
Hey, I have one about loving.
Aww, that's sweet.
Premise is a wife/girlfriend, haven't decided a relationship. This is again from 5 years ago.
I love that you're writing rom-coms in your
leaves for the weekend, and the husband/boyfriend throws a party. The wife's flight is canceled and comes back to the party, and they break up. We then see them struggling without one another, but neither one will admit it, and flashbacks happen to the good times. Well, the wife has a heart attack, and then the guy shows up to her bedside to be with her, and she lays there with tubes everywhere. While she lays there with tubes everywhere, he breaks down and says he wants her back. He's scared of losing the one thing he loves most.
Wow.
Welcome to my life.
Like a really fucking depressing movie now.
Yeah.
But okay.
It's all the in-between that's going to matter.
Yeah.
You got to fill out the
maybe
flashlight.
she'll come back. Who knows? That's why I never finished it, because I was like, I don't know how I want to end this.
Got
It's from 5 years ago.
I've got stuff jotted down in books at home.
Yeah, I have. Did you guys ever do, like, my English teacher used to make us do nonstop writing, where they're like, you had 15, 20 minutes, and you just had to write whatever it was. That's what
stream
that
of
is.
consciousness is. Yeah.
And I used to write like these crazy ass stories, and you'd start in one place. And I loved like I was in the music industry at the time, so I'd write a lot about my music and kind of bring different things together. And I would write these things of like being this rock star, and then meeting a meth head, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? And just like, you want to share this? Yeah, let me share this with you. Let me show you fuck up I am.
Where your mind goes when you just let stuff roam like that. Yeah. But yeah, it's so anyway, to bring it back to you. Sorry, sorry, we just sidetracked it.
We like being talking about him. At least
it was interesting how that kind of evolves, and how your style evolves, and how you get to a point where you suddenly know your voice just from constantly doing it and redoing it over and over again and kind of
Do you
practicing.
hired wise, like if you're doing actual art, like the drawing side of things, not just the coloring side of things? How much do people, when they hire you, like for us, it's like Tom's like, I want 8-bit. I was like, I don't give a shit what you do. Like, here's the colors that I want.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want. I trust you because you're creative. How many people are like, this is what I want, this is what I need, here's these specific things, and I used to kind of paint by numbers? So how many of them are like, you're the smart one, do what you want to do?
Everybody that I've worked with so far has just completely given me,
Because you're good at what you do.
Yeah.
I mean,
Free reign.
that's the honesty.
yeah. And then,
Honest answer.
I haven't had any like real hiring experience. So people just come to me like, hey, can you do this? I'm like, yeah, I can do this.
Maybe.
Here. Can you change this?
That's how ours started.
Yeah, that's exactly how it
That's literally
started.
how ours started.
So
I was like, you do drawing. You want to draw stuff for us?
and I'm still doing that. I don't.
We were supposed to have you at the IPC panel, too.
I know.
That couldn't happen. It's fine.
It's
it didn't
here
happen.
now.
Next,
You're here now.
next time.
Yeah,
Next time,
we'll have you
maybe.
there next year when we have the
we go.
panel again about how to be a semi-larger loot YouTuber.
Yeah, I've just now getting to the point where I've got, the first person I'm doing stuff with that I just need to kind of dive into his head and figure out, like
What they want.
What do you want when people see this? What do you want them to know?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I've got my first, client for that. So
It's got to be an interesting dynamic working off of, like, obviously you have to rely on a lot of your own creativity and your own creative juices to put something to life, but at the same time, like, when someone else is asking you to view their vision without an image of it, they're just like, it's like, what image do you conjure when you read a book? It's that kind of a principle of like, well, you can give me, like, when we tried to give you stuff, we were just like, kind of like, this would be kind of cool, and if you can make this kind of thing happen. So there was some guidage there, but mostly it was just like whatever. But
And it was you saying one thing, me saying another thing.
yeah, usually. But
and then we find in between. Hopefully.
Yeah. Kind of in the middle.
But
That's why there's like 3 different logos.
It's a weird. That would be the hardest part for me. I think it would be like actually like trying to picture how someone else is picturing something in their mind and give them the closest thing to what they want. Is that ever like a stressful thing for you?
Not yet. Not yet.
Yeah.
Just because, well, I mean, and the tools are out there. I mean, and Adobe's got so many great mobile apps, and I was just introduced to another one.
As much as it sucks to pay for these subscription-based things, they're pretty good. In fact,
Yeah.
they use the cloud. Like,
Better that than a couple $1,000s or whatever.
Well, I mean, but you own it for years,
yeah.
theoretically.
And
But
the updates.
Yeah, I'm still,
shit.
I've still got my license copy of CS6 at home, but I'm using CC because
that's Creative
the
Cloud
only
for those you don't know.
Yeah, sorry, Creative Cloud.
Not copy.
But just because it syncs across all my devices, if I wasn't using that,
harder.
I couldn't. I'd have to store everything, in Dropbox or iCloud Drive or something like that.
Which is
makes
what
it more
that's why I can now get rid of Dropbox because of a lot of other cloud storages and things that happen. So
I dropped mine back down to its normal whatever. How many?
yeah, mine. I have
gigabytes.
I have a terabyte.
I was doing the terabyte
terabyte.
because I was like, I'm gonna use this for Keegan and Tom stuff, and I was like, I'm just
I could
storing
share your
everything.
folder in mine.
Well, I was just like, I'm just using everything in Creative Cloud.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Well, I was like, oh, I'm gonna back up all of our videos there. I still have 300. I have 300 gigs up there, but I don't know what the hell's up there. Like, it's a lot of it for me is video portfolio. So if somebody's like, hey, do you have this video, or I want to see a portfolio, I'll send them a link to that folder
yeah,
of all the videos, so that way they have the original files. Because when you stream something, it's sometimes good quality. So
Yeah,
I give them
it's true
original
that.
full files, and those things can be large.
Yeah.
Give you an idea. This podcast, when it goes up, will probably be like 12 gigs.
Yeah, it goes anywhere
gigs.
from 11 to 15, depending
Yeah.
on how long we go and how many things are put into it. The Copenhagen Morpheus ones are usually larger because I'm actually putting like 4K video behind us that's playing,
And it's got to compress that
and
and,
that's
all
going to
that
compress
jazz.
all that shit too. But yeah, well, that's
Cool.
cool, man. Is there anything that you want to kind of like mention
Him?
or talk about or advertise or anything like that? Plug.
man, I am really shitty about talking about myself.
See, that's something
so-
you got to work on.
Yeah,
man.
you literally got to what you're doing is whoring yourself out to somebody else. Do it.
I find it infinitely hard to sell ourselves to people, but
I have no
we
issue.
a platform because we have
We talked to camera.
camera.
Yeah.
Which is what you should look at when you say, if you want any artwork done.
I'm available. Hit me up, erictheanimator.com if you want to see some of my stuff. It's just a blog, but it's got my demo reel on there. It's got
our stuff on there?
Some art stuff on there. It's got Tom and Keegan stuff on there. You can contact me at ericlwhite@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Cool.
And everything that we've received so far has been blinding. So I'm like, that's an English word for good. And
It's blinding. I can't see, guys. He actually didn't tell you. He's texting me, so you're like, what the fuck is Eric doing?
Why is Weezy
What is he
all
doing?
this shitty stuff?
God.
So
The only thing I think he did not like, which I loved, was the 8-bit I Heart L2G shirt. That's the only thing you've ever come to me and you're like, I don't like that. It's like, I love this.
I don't even remember what it looks like.
I think
now.
It's the box across with
But
the
I don't
Heart
think-
L2G.
I
Oh
don't
no,
think-
I like
he
the
didn't like-
design. I
he
just
didn't
didn't
like
like the
the
gray box.
Oh.
He didn't like
I
the
think.
or you didn't like the slant.
You didn't like the
or
slant.
something
It could have been
like
the slant in
Yeah.
the words as well.
Something-
You
something
don't
was
like
slanted.
something, and I was like, this is the one thing I think.
It's
Tom
rare
did.
that I
Because
do that. I'm
because
pretty
I
open to that.
remember.
I'm pretty much I don't like
I remember
that.
you saying something about it.
Yeah.
But I might have heard you in
Because
conversation.
you
or
said
maybe
something,
told
and then
us.
you text me,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, what the fuck do? And I was like, just make both. I don't know.
I mean, that's usually the way to
Yeah.
solve it. Is
It's
make
just
do
both
more
and see
work.
which one
It's
looks
digital.
better.
Do both.
Yeah.
Do more
There
work.
you go. But yeah, we and of course anything that Weezy has designed for us in terms of merchandise or whatever is available on
Shop.
shop.
Level2gamers.com
Level 2 Gamers.
More to come. I've been working on some of those too.
or shopped at
cool.
spreadshirt.com/Level2GamersSTL.
Something like that. They
Both
both
those
take you to the
links.
same place.
They take the same place. It's just shop.level2gamers.com. It's way easier to type in than
Sweet.
the other one.
So thanks for that, for being, open and honest. And
We literally just said,
and
we
discussing.
told him, we're like, we're going to talk about you. He's like, oh, fuck.
That's how most people go. Because you just got to learn Keegan's interview technique, which is essentially just sit there and think about something as fast as you possibly can, and then ask that question on the spot. I've never seen Keegan write down a question for an interview, which is a skill set that I do not have. Like, I have to sit there and write down. Like,
You also
all
have to
the
remember, I've been interviewing since I've been 15.
Yeah,
So.
so he's been doing it for a long time. So he just gets to a point where it's just like, for him, it is literal flow of consciousness for questions.
Well, you
They're
also
just
you also
coming out,
you also
yeah.
pick up on what people say. I mean, I'll do a topic on that. I should do a topic on that. I'm gonna
how
write
you
that
interview?
down on
How to interview
interview.
by Keegan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have other topics I want to talk about too, but
I'm-
that's why we have podcasts every week.
I'm always so much more nervous because I have to try and remember my questions, but you just
Yeah, just
stream
go.
of conscious,
I
which is
don't.
amazing.
Also, I also don't care what people think. Like, I'll tell what's his face that I didn't know who he was.
Yeah,
I don't care.
It's all Matt Ryan. I don't
Yeah, I
know
was
who
like,
you
I
are.
don't know who Matt Ryan
I
was.
remembered that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. Fun fact. I don't know who you are, but you seem to be a big deal. Anyways,
Yeah, he was lovely. Anyway,
onto
onto my tale,
controversial
and my
topic.
tale is weird. Because I really strongly debated not bringing this up because I knew where this might go in terms of being controversial as a topic. But I think we'd be remiss not to
If
at
we
least bring it up.
talk about it.
And there's kind of a slant on it that I want to focus on to draw away from the obvious kind of shittiness of the whole situation. And that is that very recently, you out there in YouTube world will be very aware of one of the largest YouTubers,
Actually, the largest YouTuber.
the largest,
has
most
subscribers.
subscribed gaming YouTuber out there.
No, he's largest. Period.
Or
He is
period?
He's number one.
Wow. There you go. Largest, most subscribed guy on YouTube. Dropping the N-word on a live stream with a hard R at the end of it. It was not like a, jokey white guy playing around with the homies thing. Like, it was a legitimate, 13-year-old insult mode. And he had done it in a moment of pure frustration. And he had done it in a way that there was not really any defense for in any way. Like, there's no way he could have come out of that and said I was, making a point or I was rapping a song or what, like any way.
It wasn't a
around-
scripted.
Any
Wasn't
way
a scripted
around.
joke. or
No,
anything.
non-scripted, just pure hatred spewed out, and he immediately, I think, realized what he had
happened.
said after he said it, and so we all know what we're talking about, right? So this is PewDiePie who did this event. PewDiePie, who's already been under scrutiny for
Earlier this
his allegedly anti-Semite jokes, which I gave him the benefit of the doubt for, because the way that stuff was framed, if you watched it, it seemed like he was genuinely trying to be like an edgelord and make a joke
and the
of
thing
some
with that
description.
too is a lot of the stuff, if you just read like a news article on it, took a lot of stuff out of context.
Yeah,
So
for
context
sure.
is important, even though it
If
doesn't
you watch the
necessarily-
video, you see him make the joke, and it's like, and he's saying the guys at Fiverr will do anything if you pay him $5.
Yeah.
And then they hold up a sign and it says death to the Jews or
Yeah.
whatever. And I was like, even though that's a horrible thing to do, I get that you're trying to make
Yeah.
a joke. This is not that.
This is just this is him reacting in the live streams. We've always said are where you get to know us, because
Yeah.
it's us in our environment doing what we do, and it's like you said, there's no defense for it.
Yeah.
I do want to, before we get into the topic you talked about, or you're going to talk about, because we talked a little bit before, I want to say that this is the gaming community as a whole too. I'm not defending anything PewDiePie did. I think it's disgraceful. I think it's something he shouldn't have done. Like you said, you can see in his face, he kind of realized what happened when he did it, and I could only imagine what was going through his head, because like this is live for probably thousands of people.
I mean, that's
at the time,
be
and it's clipped.
Kicking the balls, like, being that huge of a YouTuber, and then realizing that the whole world just got to see your
I also think though because of who he is, he becomes the focal point for a lot of this, because there is a lot. If you watch any sort of PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds or any sort of competitive game on Twitch, on YouTube, whatever streaming platform, Mixer it is, there are people that are like that all the time. And granted, PewDiePie, because of the platform he's on and because of how the size he is, gets a lot more shit than most people, and I think he deserves it. But I also think we can't just say. I think this is a bigger thing than just this specific instance.
Agreed.
That we need to,
but are you referring to specifically like other streamers that do it, or other just players that do it?
I'm thinking other streamers. I've seen streams where people have done it.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you recall any names?
I don't want to name people because I don't want to get it wrong. But I have watched there's the big guys that cause the controversies, that's what they make their living off of. But there's also smaller streamers, because there's thousands of streamers out there that can say whatever they want on a camera. I mean, if I wanted to, when I'm streaming Destiny, I could drop any word I wanted, and that's the way it is, because Twitch does not control that at all. YouTube does not control that in the time. There's nobody from YouTube or Twitch there real time watching you saying, time to stop this.
Yeah.
So I think it's something that with everything that's gone on with Adpocalypse on YouTube, with people not wanting their ads on controversial topics or controversial videos, I think it's still something YouTube, Twitch, any sort of platform, Facebook for that matter as well, needs to look at and say, what can we do to make sure this gets monitored and or doesn't become a thing? Whether that's a delay in the stream where somebody can go through and review it, which would be expensive because it's a lot of manpower to do it, or how it would work.
I think also, though, outside of the idea that it happened in the first place, you have a guy that is you have to say he's a role model to a lot of younger kids.
And he did an apology video this morning.
He did, and it was shitty.
Talking about it, and I my feeling on it is my gut reaction was he did this because he had to, obviously, because he's not going to go silent, because we've learned from No Man's Sky that's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
And but I part of me feels he's sincere, and part of me is saving his ass.
Yeah.
Like
I think the latter. Honestly, I think a lot of it is that, like, here's how I imagine this scenario to have gone down. We haven't even gone to the topic yet. Sorry, Weezy.
You're good.
But, like, here's how I imagine some of this has gone down. I think he probably does use that type of phrasage when he's extremely annoyed in his private life.
Yes.
I know that he is a very wealthy Swedish person, and, there's a certain...
He lives in London now, or Brighton now.
Does he?
Yeah.
There's a certain level, I think, when you are, like, even like we talk about this, like when your upbringing, right, is pure wealthy, pure come from money. You're only surrounded by people that look like you. You're sort of sheltered.
Yeah.
Then you don't necessarily have that same filter that a lot of conscious-minded people do. So with someone like him, I genuinely do think that is part of his personality. Like, that wouldn't surprise me to come out of his mouth on a normal basis. But I think that there's this kind of duty that you have as the largest fucking YouTube subscribed person on the planet, and one especially that should know better from all the other controversies.
I think that's what got me more than anything else, is the fact, like you said, I gave him benefit of the doubt on the other ones because the context, but this one's a lot harder to do.
There's no context to it. It's just like, this dude was angry and he said a really shitty thing.
And it's one of those things where, like, and I feel like I'm defending him, but I do want to show this side of it, is there's a lot of pressure put on that dude because of who he is and what he does, and I'm sure there's a lot of things that he is very hyper aware of that goes on, and if he does slip up, he knows what's going to happen. So it's any celebrity. I mean, how many celebrities have you? Britney Spears, when she shaved her head, that kind of thing.
That's true.
I think it's
to
on
an
them.
extent. That's
but
true.
I'm not defending what he did, because I still think what he did is wrong. I also say, though, part of me says we put these people on a pedestal, so we give them the voice, so when he does fuck up, because if he said that in his house, or if he said it in his private life, nobody would know. Nobody would care. The fact that he is a big YouTuber online,
in front of millions of kids.
That's the problem is, like you said, the role model aspect of it, the fact that we idolize this guy, the fact that people look up to him.
I mean, it's still shitty that he would say it. I mean, I don't know that he says it normally, obviously, but like it would still be hugely fucking shitty of a human being
but we
to
wouldn't
do that.
know.
But
type thing.
at the same time, like having that extra kind of role, like for example, to bring it into a different industry that's still an entertainment industry, they had that sort of thing recently with Pantera. Do you remember that?
No.
So Phil Anselmo, who's the lead singer of Pantera, was there was this weird thing where they're not sure if he was saying white power or if he was saying wine power, because they had all been like gotten pissed on this wine before they came out on stage, and they were holding wine, but he held his hand up and said white power, and when you had like all this the music and it, the noise and everything, like everyone heard, and he's doing this kind of salute at the same time. So he came on and did the exact same thing, gave an apology and everything, but he's the lead singer of a band that's famous for being Southern metal. So there's a certain, like, I could see that guy maybe going that route. PewDiePie is, like, Mr. Innocent most of the time. Like, he makes some shitty jokes and stuff, but he has this, like, bro-fist video game.
And I
all
think
this
the
kind
other
of
thing
shit.
with him, too, is people... He's very immature in his videos. I would love to see what the guy is outside of YouTube, because that's probably only a section of his personality. I'd love to see how he is business. Like, you can't be successful on YouTube and not be smart.
Yeah.
Like, he has a persona, and that's what it is, and that's hurting him in this instance of, like, the immaturity. He's known his audience is probably the 10 to 13-year-olds or maybe younger that watch him, and that's what the scary part of all this is.
4chan group.
Is the people that are listening to him. Like, you have your son, they have another son that's even younger. Imagine your youngest son hearing something like that say, like, that's the part that gets me. And yes, we need to hold him accountable, and I think he deserves the repercussions. I've always said you have the right to say anything you want,
as long as you're willing to deal
with the repercussions.
Yeah.
There's everything you say, and you're right. You have the right to do anything as long as it doesn't hurt somebody else's physically or property. Like, that's it. That's basically what my belief system boils down to. If you don't hurt somebody physically or their property, you can do and say whatever you want.
Yeah, but
you have repercussions
there's
for what
downsides
happens.
to that. Yeah, I mean, the repercussions are that likely you will be physically assaulted if you come up with that type of shit that he's saying. But
that's what. But
it's just disgusting, isn't it? I mean, but the point that we were trying to get to eventually, and I'm going to try and get to a sort of a happier side of this argument, because obviously this side is the ugly side.
Yeah, I just feel like we should.
No, it's worth
talk about
discussing.
it
It's worth
to be.
discussing, and I think it's also worth pointing out that obviously all of us here at Level 2 are absolutely reprehensibly against that whole situation and that word and everything that came out at that time.
Yes.
But we do like to try and give
When I
a
watched
balanced argument.
it was interesting because when I read the article, because I'm very skeptical when he gets put in the media, because YouTubers are always put in
they're
negative light.
him, yeah.
And I was like, okay, whatever. And then I literally watched it before we recorded. I was like, let me watch this to make sure I know what happened. And I was like, I was more shocked then when I actually saw it with the context and everything that happened. I was
the
like,
context
okay.
is what makes it.
Yes,
And there
because
was no context.
Because if somebody
for that.
pulled something out, I was like, that happens all the time. Same thing with celebrities, but like this one, like we said, there's no reason. There's nothing you can do to defend it.
A moment of hatred.
Yes.
And there's no way to defend that.
Yeah.
Do you have any opinions on it before we move on to the next kind
Do you
want
want to put your 2 cents out there and see to the internet?
Well, I mean, it's...
Careful what you say.
I know. And when like you said, because I had seen it on, one of my tech blogs that I follow, and I was just like, I didn't dive in. But then that you said that's what your topic was going to be. Like, all right, I actually know about this a little bit. But I hadn't watched the video. When we watched the video, you can tell that he fucked up.
Yeah.
You can tell he knew
that he fucked up.
But, however, I mean... You also had the moment to in the in moment reaction. His in moment reaction was to laugh.
Yeah, that's
probably
true.
because he didn't know what to do.
Partially. Pull your shit together and say, "Fuck, I'm really sorry."
Yeah.
Just in the moment apology, as opposed to waiting and then saying an apology.
It sounds
later
scripted.
on.
I think you're
Do
absolutely
it
right.
right away.
Because you can see on his face, he's like, "Oh."
Yeah.
But but it's almost like he tried to brush it off, like he never said it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, because he then calls the guy an asshole right after, and he starts laughing.
Right.
And you're like,
but the other
now is the time to.
The other thing with that
Do it
though,
in the moment.
and as somebody who conducts streams, is when something like that happens, like in the chat. We've had people drop the N-word in the chat, and you probably have never had any idea that things happen.
I don't
in
watch
the
the chat, honestly.
So when things happen in our chat, I ignore it and move on. Like, I'll say something and like, no, you're gone, and ignore it and move on. I think that's what he was trying to do. I think, though, this was too big to ignore and move on.
You can't be that size and not address it in the moment.
And I didn't know really who he was.
Right.
you guys have obviously
Yeah,
shined a light.
he is literally the largest YouTuber.
That's massive. I mean, you've got a
50
responsibility to your
56
community
million, I believe.
to address it right then and there, not wait on it.
But I think again, I feel like I'm defending him because I
wouldn't take it as a defense.
I understand on that side, but that's probably what he. If I was to get in his head at that moment,
you're trying to more think of what you would do if you were in his shoes,
yeah.
as opposed
If
to...
I had said that in that situation, what would I have done differently than he would have? And I don't know if I would have, because I would want to go on and hope to God nobody heard it. But obviously, when you have thousands of people, somebody's going to catch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Wheezy's right on this one. I think it's a case of, like, if he would have, like,
57 million.
stopped
Yeah,
in the
that's insane.
moment. Yeah, 57 million people that could have watched that. But, like, I think there's kind of this moment that if that were to happen to him directly there and then, he probably should have said, something along the lines of, I can't believe that came out of my mouth. I have no idea where it came from. I'm so sorry to all of
But then you'd have the people saying,
But
that's
I would have
not
stopped
the
the
review.
stream. That's what I'm saying. I
Well-
think he should have stopped the stream and just been like, "That it was so disgusting of me. I'm so sorry. And then just do a little apology there and say, I'm actually going to end this stream now because I can't believe."
I don't know if it's a
how
sponsored
that-
stream though. That's the other thing, is
Matter.
he's got a bunch of contracts and stuff.
Well, he's not going to be fucking sponsored anymore, so he may as well
Not-
stop
at
the
least-
stream.
at
You
least
know what I
not-
mean?
Not by those folks.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that addressing it sooner would have been...
Yes,
Or,
I
like,
agree.
instantly. Obviously, no one knows how they're going to react in a moment
Right.
if that kind of, like, anxiety and, like, oh my God, what just happened?
He could have been in panic mode. I mean, who
Yeah.
knows? I
'Cause
mean,
maybe it was shock.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
there's times where I've said stuff to people that, like, I don't think it's offensive, but somebody might think it is. Like, I make a lot of gay jokes on our streams, and like the bear jokes. Like, maybe there's somebody out there that's like, "Oh, look what he said about bears," and I was like, "Well, we're joking with our friends," but at the same time, it's still. I don't think, in my head, I don't think that's as big as obviously what happened here.
well, you're not using it out of anger and frustration.
No.
Yeah.
That's clearly what
that's
he was
making
doing.
an
That's
actual
clearly what he
joke.
was
But
doing.
if my thought is always, if somebody jumps in our stream,
And it's
we're doing
also
that.
not a derogatory term to call someone a bear or gay. Like, that's not a derogatory term.
That's a category.
If you're,
Yeah.
if you're
it's a category.
if you're using the F term associated
Yeah.
with that, then
Yes.
we got a problem.
Yeah, I
you
have an
know?
issue with that.
And plus, we actually were playing with bears at the time, and like, so
Well,
it's
at one point, me and Brian were like,
occasionally.
it was the joke was, and I've said this many times, was me and Brian were on our bears. We named him Chad, as we do. And at one point,
Chad.
we're like, "Are we talking about animals? Or are we talking about gay men?" And then it kind of devolved from there from the chat, like, "What are bears?" And I was like,
Sometimes you get weird, not you personally, but like when they're doing a stream, stuff can get weird. You get weird.
I mean, we talked about
streams
peeing in
of
the shower.
consciousness.
for a whole fucking
Yeah,
stream.
we've talked about peeing in the shower for a whole stream. We've done, like, when we played the golf game, God knows what kind of weird shit was
that
coming
was-
out of our
yeah.
mouths on that one.
That was
And it was mostly just because golf was so boring to play that the conversation was almost like the part that you focused on the most. And so you're kind of like, you're just fucking talking shit. And just like, again, it's a stream of consciousness, which is largely what streaming is.
Yeah.
That's why I am averse to it. Averse to
Adversed.
it, as opposed to this type of content that's controllable content and stuff that I think we talk about how I feel like that stream is like a live show and one of these is like a song or an album or whatever. So that's kind of why I prefer having control over it and
I
doing
prefer a live
editing
show.
and that kind of stuff. Not that I ever think we would ever do anything like
No.
that, but at the same time, going live, there's so many things that can go wrong in that scenario. Because even if it's not you, someone else playing the game, if their
That's
mic
my
is
thing
live
when
and-
I bring also
Yeah.
when I bring somebody into a chat. Like, one of the things I think is interesting now is I had to make up stream rules, and it's not because I think any of my friends are going to say anything offensive. It's just more of, hey, heads up, if you say this,
You're gone.
You're gone.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Because we cannot have that on here, because that falls back on us, and that's a responsibility, which is what we think
And if
PewDiePie
anything,
here should
we've
have
stood
should have done.
for equality in gaming for
Yes.
as long as we've been a channel. So that's
Let's actually get to what you want to talk about, the side of it. Because I feel
Oh
like
yeah,
we've
I
been
have a
rambling.
topic. So the topic runs off of that. Basically, it runs off of the whole PewDiePie story, and that is that shortly after that, Campo Santos, who are one of my favorite developers right now, they're an indie developer that created the massive indie smash hit Firewatch last year. Campo Santos came out and basically said that it wasn't the whole group. It's like one of the
Yeah,
the
I want to
head
find
guys.
who it was.
But he
here.
said basically that I believe that us as developers should take the power into our hands to crush this man's career. And
actually the exact
what they
article that I
decided to
read.
do was basically say, we're going to issue DMCA takedowns of all of the content that you've streamed from us or, recorded from us. And then you cannot any longer use that to gain any traction or any fans or to showcase your talent. And then they recommended that all other developers do it too, which was the kind of interesting part. It wasn't just the kind of like, we're going to do this and that's just how we feel about it. It was like, we're doing this and every other motherfucker should do it too.
Can I
this guy's
can I read this word for word just so everybody
Yeah,
gets
absolutely.
clear
What's his
context?
name again?
His name is Sean Vanman,
Sean
and
Vanman?
he
Vanman.
is co-founder of Campo Santo, a video game company, born in Ireland, Wyoming raised, wrote and co-wrote Firewatch and The Walking Dead Season 1. We're filing DMCA takedown of PewDiePie's Firewatch content and any future Campo Santo games. There is a bit of leeway you have to have with the internet when you wake up every day and make videos. There's also a breaking point. I'm sick of this child getting more and more chances to make money off what we make. He's worse than a closeted racist. He's a propagator of despicable garbage that does real damage to the culture around this industry. I urge other developers, and we'll be reaching out to folks much larger than us, to cut him off from the content that made him a millionaire. Furthermore, we're complicit. I'm sure we've made money off of the 5.7 million views that the video has, and that is something to think about. Lastly, I love streamers. I watch them daily, and we have sent over 3,000 keys to professional and amateur streamers of Firewatch.
We got that with a key, didn't we? Or did we buy it?
I bought it.
Okay.
This is later on. Freedom of speech is freedom of prosecution. His stream is not commentary; it's ad growth for his brand. Our game on his channel equals an endorsement. Yeah. And they don't. That's why they basically, he's coming out and saying, I don't want to endorse this, and I want to do everything I can to separate Firewatch from PewDiePie because of this. And we've seen it before with athletes, like when Tiger Woods crashed his car.
It's a similar principle. Absolutely,
same concept.
Yeah. But it's kind of interesting because I think, to my memory, this is the first time that's happened in YouTube
The
gaming.
first public time.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's been other times that has happened.
I mean,
but first
don't get me
this
wrong.
guy's
Like, he lost his deals with like Disney and everything over the other stuff, the anti-Semite stuff.
He also was in the Warner Brothers controversy where Warner Brothers paid him to give a good review.
Yeah, like
But that's a
there's
different ballgame.
so much of that shit that goes on. But this is like a developer of an indie title, which is a big thing for us because these guys, they need those pushes. They need people like PewDiePie to play their game.
Jacksepticeye.
Yeah, and that game turned out to be like one of the games of the year. Like, it won a ton of awards, and it did get a lot of praise. And some of that, as he said, we are complicit. We are complicit. We got like 5 million views or whatever on that video. The people with eyes on our game because he played it. But he acknowledges that, and then still proceeds to be like, but this is the right thing to do. Is to fire out this DMCA takedown on PewDiePie, which I'm assuming means that he would do it for anyone that was in a similar situation.
Yes, and that's the argument I was making earlier, where I feel like if we do it for this to me has to be a moment where we're going, okay, we're not going to allow this, and I think YouTube won't do it because YouTube can't do it because YouTube is too big. But if you get individual developers together,
Can't YouTube take that video down though, based on
they can take that one down, but how do you take down somebody who's half his size that nobody knows about type thing? Like, how do you stop the problem? You're not stopping the problem, you're stopping the top part of the problem.
Yeah.
But if it keeps going, somebody else will come in and be that person.
Yeah, just cutting the head off the snake.
So I'm thinking, like, if the developers get involved and they say, hey, we're going to hit this guy where it hurts, we're going to hit him in the wallet, we're not going to give him keys, we're not going to give him access, which at this point I don't think PewDiePie really cares. He made probably a shit ton of money and probably is set for life.
Well, that's the other thing. Yeah, he's got $40 million in the bank and maybe more. And essentially he's still a child, so he is set for life if he wants to be. But then this is also all he knows. Mm-hmm. So like it's like saying if you wanted to, you could retire from life and just live a lap of luxury. But he's probably got a crazy expensive house, crazy expensive car.
I don't want to compare this to my dad because it's a good comparison, but it's a weird comparison to make. So my dad recently has lost his job. He's been at home now for about a month.
And your dad used to make a fair wage.
Yeah, well, not just that, but my dad also he's worked his whole life. I called my mom this morning to talk about some stuff, and she's like, your dad used to work 150% of his time.
Yeah.
And now he doesn't know what to do. And I was like, he's been calling me a lot. She goes, that's because he doesn't know what to do with his time.
Yeah.
He will search for new jobs. He'll do research here and there. And like when I went to college, and when my brother went to college, my sister went to college, he spent hours looking at colleges for us because that's what he knows.
Yeah.
And it's really weird talking to him now because it's like, I think he enjoys it to a certain extent, but he's also he's
He
like
enjoys
me.
the freedom, but he's scared of the
He's a
freedom.
lot like me, where he has to be
Yeah.
doing something.
Yeah.
And I don't think he has that something right now to do it. And we actually had a really good conversation that I might bring up next week on the podcast of me and him are both dreamers and what that means for career paths and all that kind of stuff. So it's a weird comparison to make to PewDiePie dropping the N-word and the DMCA claims from Campo Santo. But I also feel like with PewDiePie, it's one of those things that if we take YouTube away,
What's he got?
what is PewDiePie?
Yeah, he's just a dude. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like, so he's a rich dude.
It's kind of
So,
catch,
you know.
catch me outside, girl. Like if we stop giving her press,
Yeah,
she's nobody.
she goes back to being
Yeah.
white trash, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It's like any celebrity like that.
yeah.
It
So
sucks because
it's-
controversy sells.
It's interesting. I just thought it was especially unique that an indie developer was the first one to show up and say that, as opposed to maybe some of the bigger franchises that have been.
Yeah, I don't
supporting
think
him.
I honestly don't think EA and all them really care at this
Well,
point.
and I think the indie developers,
They have more to lose.
well, and I honestly, I think they're more passionate about their products.
Yeah.
And they've got to,
They're not a corporation.
right.
It's not a case of we've made our money, now let's move on.
Right.
You know, it's which is a great stand to take, I think, and it's also very, very
the
interesting
mo-
and telling of the difference between EA and Campo Santos.
It's the right moral stand to do it. And
Yeah.
I'm interested to see because he said he's going to reach out to other folks and see what the ripple effect is of this, and if any. And I would love to. I might email him and see if we can reach out to him and be like, hey,
Ask him about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
do you have time to talk and all this kind of stuff about it? Because it's I give the guys major credit for it because it's not an easy decision to do, especially publicly. Like most people will side with the side of taking it down. There's
Right.
there's going to be people on the other side that are just the way they are, and they're not going to agree with it because
Racist.
I mean, yes, but it's also the question of if you take that down, are you doing freedom of speech, which is why I think he did the freedom of speech thing. It's not freedom of speech; it's building his brand, which I love because that's always the argument that comes out of this. If you take something away, so I think it's interesting to see how they've handled it and how he's going to handle it in the future. And I would love to, like I said, for me, I want this to be a catalyst for things to happen because the YouTube and not just YouTube, Twitch, the gaming community in general, I think is a very, very toxic community.
Oh yeah.
And it drives me crazy because I love
Gamergate
playing.
proves all of that.
I love playing socially, but like Overwatch, you have some pricks in there that are just like, what? Why? Why are you? It's a video game. Have fun. Like,
Yeah.
come on. You don't need to call people out and all this stuff and call people names. And I would love. I mean, you're not going to clean it up 100%. There's no way.
But there is a massive difference between a 13-year-old threatening to fuck your mother and then this guy.
Because to me, like
Getting in
the
that
joke,
territory.
a lot of times in a lot of games I play is if you report somebody, what happens?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what do I report somebody for? Oh, they're joking. Well, that's cool, but they still that joke I don't find good taste.
It's impossible to monitor all of these games
Yes.
as well. It's impossible to
Yeah.
monitor. So
That's
you're
why I
never
think-
going to completely get rid of it unless there's some kind of weird like voice recognition technology that could ban.
Well, I was
you.
thinking like reading like the YouTube subtitle type thing.
Yeah,
Like have
but
that
then
come
they
in.
could really easily fuck that up and get the wrong words and stuff as well. So.
Yeah. I mean, there's no perfect answer to anything like this
Yeah.
because it's such a big thing to do.
Would you do I mean, obviously, I would think that you would, but how would you handle that if it happened with like some of your art, for example? Like if someone used that for either their channel, like in our instance, or if it was
inappropriate something you deemed you don't want your name connected to?
Yeah, how would you like? You can't really file a DMCA takedown unless
Right.
It depends on. I think a lot
unless
of
it's
it depends
digital
on
or
the
not,
agreement.
right? So
Right. Yeah. I think it all depends on because I mean if they
they own it.
if they own it, they buy it outright. Then I mean,
should
I
have
guess
write up
technically
contract.
they can. Yeah, then they can do whatever
Not
they
that we're
want
gonna
with
do
it.
anything,
I can make a statement.
yeah.
Yeah, that's about it.
I think once you sign away the rights to that content,
Yeah.
then I suppose that's all you can.
I mean,
do.
one of the things. So for me, whenever I did the freelance video stuff back in the day, there's two agreements I signed back in the day. One was I owned none of the footage. Whoever I worked for owned the footage, whatever the festival or whatever it may be, or I owned everything. If I own that footage, I have the right to determine where that footage goes. And if that footage goes in something I don't agree with, or somebody uses it for something, unless it's educational purposes, or like that's the fair use comes in, which is a whole fucking thing in itself.
yeah,
But
we tackle that one a few times.
yeah. But if it's under fair use, I can't do anything. But if it's not under fair use and somebody comes in and uses, I don't want to name a band, but a band comes in and the white power thing that you're saying, Pantera, somebody uses that then to use at a Nazi rally, I have an issue with that, and I would put a cease and desist
Right.
to that if I own that footage. If I don't own that footage and I gave it to the festival,
Don't
then
really
it's
have
on
a
the
leg to
festival
stand
to do
on,
it.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I can't do it personally, even though it's technically my name to that was made.
Cool.
So, what do you guys think? This is
Yeah.
it's a very loaded thing. Like, I would love
So Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Wheezy. Do you like Destiny 2?
Welcome
Do
to
you
the
want to
fire.
ask Wheezy any questions?
that's
Because
good.
we can monitor. I'm pretty on the comments for these. So anything you have for Wheezy,
Yeah, every time I go to
post it
reply to
below.
comment,
Any
Tom's already down.
questions? If you're interested in him, then I mean, he's a handsome guy.
I'm interested in him. He's married now.
though, and he has children. But if you're interested in his work, then let us know. And also, where do you stand on this whole DMCA takedown sort of subject around the PewDiePie controversy? Do you think it is something you'd like to see more of? Do you think that you would like to see bigger name developers actually sticking their necks out a little bit and kind of saying this is reprehensible and pulling their content too? Where do you view that going, or what sort of implications do you
I
think
really
that
want to see
has?
this do a sweeping change. I know it won't, and I'm a dreamer, but I want it. I want it to do a sweeping change because I think it needs to be done. And I think if it doesn't happen now, I think YouTube as a platform, and this is a whole nother topic, but I think YouTube as a platform is going to hit something here real soon
Yeah.
where it's the net neutrality type thing. Like, how much can YouTube censor and how much can people free speech and all this kind of stuff? And something's
They've been dealing with that for a long
something's
time.
gotta happen.
Even going down
Yeah.
to like terrorist training videos being
yeah,
uploaded. and
something's
like
got to
that
happen,
stuff.
and I think within our sphere,
Yeah.
our gaming sphere, like this is gonna right now. A lot of the YouTube gaming content's getting, and I think you've noticed, is getting flagged automatically
Oh yeah, half our shit got
because of
flagged.
it. So it's like,
Just because I swear a lot, mostly.
yeah, well, yeah.
But I'm not going to not do that because that's who I am. So there you go. But yeah. So anyway, that about wraps up. Is it 39?
39.
That about wraps up episode 39 of the official Level 2 podcast. We went long this time. We usually do when we have a third. Hopefully you enjoyed it though, and the topics and commentary there within. Any last things from you guys?
No,
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, anytime, man.
Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks for hanging out.
You'll be on the next
So-
one. He'll be on Indie Please I Details as well.
Yeah, there you go.
So-
So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and as always,
Welcome to the second level.
Bye.
No game.